Well, talk to us about like the journey for Nosferatu, the movie, because you had intended to make this earlier on in your career, and it sounds like other things came before it.
So I grew up doing tons of theater, and when I was 17, I had the opportunity to do Nosferatu on stage, and that kind of put me on this trajectory. Like, it cemented the fact that I wanted to be a director.
Was this always the first movie you wanted to make? When did the idea of the Nosferatu movie happen?
Yeah, I mean, it was after The Witch, and talked a little bit about it. Why don't we do Nosferatu? I'm telling you right now, it's a more commercial version of The Witch. We know what that is, and let's go for it. But, I ultimately, I'm really, really, really glad that it didn't work, because I've grown a lot as a person and a filmmaker.
So did you write a Nosferatu script back then?
I did, and It hasn't really changed much since then. In the process of writing it, I wrote a novella, which I've never done before or since. I needed to find a way to get ownership of the world and the characters, and writing this overly long novella that was filled with things that I knew would never be in the movie helped me tremendously.
Nosferatu is a story that existed before, but you're making your own version of it. So what was the balancing act between staying true to what had come before versus putting your own stamp on things?
But I tried to run it on a parallel course and have all of my choices be some kind of extension of things that came from the Murnau film. One of the first things I did is open up Lotte Reisner's biography of Murnau, and the Galeen screenplay is in the back of that, and really try to understand where that team was coming from creatively, and understand that Alban Grau, the producer, was an occultist, a practicing occultist.
Instruct me, charge me, use me.
I don't know that he actually believed in folk vampires, but he almost certainly believed in astral vampires as a reality, People who can sort of send their astral bodies psychically to drain people of energy and stuff like that.
So sort of what we see Orlok doing at the very start, the sense of this mystical figure that comes to Ellen.
Yeah. It was always striking to me that Ellen becomes the heroine by the end of the film. And I thought, well, this is sort of taking the inspiration from the original and running with it. What if it's her movie? What if we see it through her eyes? Perhaps there is the ability for the film to have more emotional and psychological depth this way. And in the original film, she's called a somnambulist, and sleepwalkers in the 19th century were believed to be able to see into another realm, and that became entirely inspirational into, first of all, understanding the Murnau film a little better, but then also understanding who this character could be. Obviously, with my interests, I turned back to folklore, and in the early Balkan and Slavic folklore, these folk vampires were ambulating corpses that looked more like a cinematic zombie. That seemed very exciting to me. So then the question is what does a dead Transylvanian nobleman look like? So then I go from there.
I think we're used to modern vampires being romantic figures in the classically sexual sense. And this is a more old school, just actually terrifying monstrosity of a character who's coming in here. And he's not Robert Pattinson. He's a timeless demonic force.
Yeah. A big, angry erection with a mustache.
Leave there your conveniences. Set out the deed and sit.